Well, what do you say about Carlton? They've now lost 3 of their last 4 matches. There was Heaver going in for one of his 3 goals. Ironically, he kicked 5 goals against Carlton in his debut for Melbourne on the Queen's birthday a year and a bit ago. There was Knights with a soccer goal for Richmond. But what do you say about the Blues? They've lost to Fitzroy and also to Richmond when they've been in front at critical times in the last 2 weeks and haven't been able to win. And you'd have to have a big question mark on them. And Hawthorn and Fitzroy must have been licking their lips when upset of the round, Richmond over Carlton by 3 points. A blue day for the Blues, considering the incentive they had, Bob, to play in the top 6 and stay in there. And celebrations for Mil Hannah, 100 games. Greg Williams, 150 with 3 different clubs. And Kernahan and Bradley, their 150th as well.
Well, I was interested, and I hear that Parker said that put too much pressure on those players. I think it was just be the exact opposite, that you would want to play even better when you had a milestone, and you'd want the team to win.
That's the pressure he's talking about, though.
Really? But the pressure. Look, if you're a good player and you're playing 150 games, wouldn't you really want to play well? Who puts the pressure on you? Only yourself would put the pressure. You have to be a dumbbell. That's all claptrap, what he said. Claptrap.
Bob, do you consider that to be a real surprise? I mean, Richmond beat Carlton in the last game last year. Now, surely their confidence against the opposition would have been fairly high, wouldn't it?
I would consider that yesterday's win for Richmond was probably the most important win for them in a decade. Not that they beat Carlton, but the manner in which they accomplished it, and you can see the style coming into the team. And I'm going to give the votes for Brian because he's making all sorts of ridiculous singles over there. Here it is now. I gave Wayne Campbell, who's a most exciting player, a very exciting player, and the way he finished off Carlton, he was in the last 2 goals, magnificent. Hannah, who obviously didn't feel the pressure because he played a great game for them, and Turner, who is a backman, come up to the forward line and looked as though he might be quite a good player.
Now, Bobby,
yes.
If Dorotich kicked that goal from close in, probably Carlton would have won. Were they the better side, or were Richmond?
No, Richmond were the better side. And in fact,
justice was done.
I think justice was done. In fact, Richmond started off well and looked as though they were going to go. Carlton would get to them, Richmond would kick their next goal, and you could see the thought that we aren't a bad team, coming better all the time, and they have some very exciting young players who are not perhaps as well known as they should be.
Bob,
namely,
Bob, I've been
Lennon for one.
Yeah, Bob, I've been an advocate for never moving Jeff Hogg from full forward. Now, where did he play? How did he perform?
He started off he got 4 goals. He did very well early. You know, Hogg's the leader for them. There's no 2 ways about it. Actually, Little Lambert got cut out the game by Elvin, but Matthew Knights did well, and then Campbell did well for them. They've got, and Waitman, even though, well, he needs to catch a tram to get to the ball almost now, Waitman, but he's clever and he can do things.
Bobby, a moment ago you spoke about their style of play. What did you mean by the change in their style of play?
Well, they were yesterday taking the correct options with the ball, which they haven't been doing. And when they went 8 points down with 22 minutes gone in the last quarter, you'd say if they're not a good team, they would go under.
Were they more direct?
Well, they were a little bit more direct, but they fought it out. When they got to the front, they fought it right along the boundary. Everything worked well for them, and it looked as though they were, knowing what they wanted to do and knowing that they wanted to win the game. And I would be very apprehensive if I was Collingwood next week about them.
Justin Madden
Played very well for them yesterday. In fact, he was one of their very good players. But at one stage they had all big, tall fellas up on the forward line. Kernahan, Spalding, Dorotich, they were all there, no little fellas, although Heaver did get 3 goals, I think.
Bob, I don't want to be pedantic, but choosing the right option is not a style. I mean, that's something you try and teach all footballers to do, isn't it?
Yes, but the coach must instill in them that there are 2 or 3 options, and they've really got to look at it. I think before that, they may have just blazed with the ball on. Now they sort of got to head up and finding the correct and not turning it over as easily as they were doing.